basically, Jake.
Yeah, it's what you're doing is you're feeding it. So it's going to eat the straw that it's already colonized for a while.
Right.
But to get, it's already, I've taken 2 flushes off of it. It's already used up some of the nutrient in it. Right. So when you're feeding it more, you're just giving it more life. It'll last longer. And eventually, if you get a large enough section of it, say like down this whole hill, it'll make it through the summers, but you'll have to feed it every year. It's a very aggressive species. Right. So fresh wood chips, fresh straw, fresh newspaper, whatever.
Little shop of horrors.
I think my one kit, I kind of haven't done anything with it. I think I'm just going to put it in my little raised garden that I made. And just,
What kind of dirt do you have in your raised garden?
Yeah, a lot. That's another thing. Grass clippings, especially if you if you cut your grass and let it dry in the yard for a bit, day or two, let it turn brown, and then rake it up, toss it right on your oyster beds. King Stropharia is real good for that one too. They'll eat all your yard waste and everything like that. If you have a wood chipper, any of your limbs that come down, chip it up, throw it on there. They're a primary decomposer, so if you want to use it as a compost pile, like a long-term compost pile, just keep throwing stuff on it.
And so the new food is also going to help hold moisture.
Yes, it will help increase the moisture level. Increases just the biomass. That once this spreads out into this whole thing, you're going to have more mushrooms. Right. Than you would if you just had half the amount of biomass.
I think I just realized, Jacob, that you're counting on that roof.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see where all these washdowns is where all your water's going. So what we're trying to do is spread this out enough that when it comes down off of here, it hits this, it just kind of slowly soaks through it. And that's part of it. You mentioned bioremediation. Yes. This is one thing that you can do in large scale, make berms. If you have a field that you farm, and you have it sloping a particular angle, you build a berm to a specific point with King Stropharia or the oysters, then that water will hit those berms and then flow to a certain, to where you want it to, and then you have a little area where you've built a, kind of a recessed area with more of that mycelium around it, so it funnels all of the water into that one area and then through it before it goes into your runoff. Okay. You can catch a lot of chemicals, runoff of fields, stuff like that before they go back into the water system. Okay.
Did somebody said for parking lots, greasy?
Big parking lots.
Yeah.
Sure. And whenever it rains, it takes that top oil layer that comes off the car, bring oil or whatever.
Stuff's so pretty.
That's interesting. So yeah, you could have, basically put some like V-shaped berms or things in your runoff into the stormwater retention pond, and let it filter through there and catch the oil and eat it. And that's interesting.
A good way to do it would be to grow cattails, and then harvest the cattail, dry it out, and then use the mushrooms.
Phragmites is pretty good that way too. Phragmites australis. Common reed grass, I think. We see that a lot around coal mines, stuff like that. You get diversion ditches and things like that have acid mine drainage passing through them. They'll act like a filter, basically, like a coffee filter, and strain that stuff out.
And they're very fast growing.
Yes, they are. They're very invasive species. Fish and Wildlife doesn't like them, but we do.
Right. Yeah. So I know that's kind of a quick talk. And questions. Any questions? It doesn't matter if it sounds like it's a dumb question or not.
How much?
Are you giving bags away?
Yeah, they're up in the truck. So when anyone goes up past my little red S10 up there, grab as many bags as you want.
I suggest everybody does it because it's fun. You get to watch it happen, and you'll check on it every day because you'll be eager, and then all of a sudden you got some mushrooms to make with your scrambled eggs.
Yeah, I took some over to my mom's. I took 2 of the bags over to my mom's house and just put them in a plastic tote and set them underneath the eave of her roof. And she called me the other day just to tell me she had 2 nice little clusters on her bags, and she was so happy that she get to try them.
do from year to year, other than just
Feeding them.
feeding?
Feeding them, make sure they get moisture. You know, it's kind of like a plant. You know, you need to, in that sense, is that you need to make sure it's got a right amount of moisture, but not too much. You know, you don't want to drown it.
They seed
and feed it.
themselves with the spores.
Yeah.
Unless you have a really harsh winter or something like that.
Right, so it's a perennial. All you've got to do is just keep it going, because if
Yeah.
it's in a container, it's going to eat up its.
And that's kind of a misnomer. Like, you know, yes, it will redistribute itself with the spores, but spores will survive any winter. So
Okay.
the mycelium is a cold hardy species anyways. So
Yeah,
it
okay,
really
makes sense.
it's just a colony that's living, and it just goes dormant for the winter, and then it reactivates during the summer. The spores really just kind of help it get new life. If it germinates and if it needs it, then the spores are there. But the colony will pretty much just stay a colony as long as you feed it right.
What? Yeah, I was just out of curiosity in the wild. Has anybody done any studies? You know, you've got mycelium out here somewhere. How long will that live?
Until it eats up its food source.
Yeah. Okay.
So we,
Quite a few years.
yeah, so this species of oysters, the same oysters that we have on the trees out here right now, and they'll eat that tree until that tree's dead.
Well, Jacob,
You know, as long as they've got a food source.
Yeah.
If it's a soft wood as opposed to a hardwood, the hardwood's gonna last longer because it takes it longer to break down.
Yeah. Okay.
Jacob, if by some weird chance it doesn't rain for 3 months, but then it does rain plenty, will they pop up?
These will pop up since it's outside. It will only pop up during the times that are.
Oh, yeah, so that's not season anymore.
Fruiting
Well,
temperature for its fruiting.
But-
So for these is
but oil-
between
yeah.
65 and 45.
okay.
I think
Well, I guess what I'm saying is,
water, if you were in a drought, I would definitely sprinkle.
Yeah.
Well-
It'll go dormant, but you don't want to let it go dormant like that for too long.
It could dry up and die. Yeah.
and die,
And that's
okay.
one of the main reasons why you want to put it on the north side of a building or an area that's just always in shade.
Right.
You know, if you've got a big tree that just what's under it never gets any sun, do it right there. That's fine. But if you put them in the sun, it'll dry out real quick.
Okay.
Especially this strong.
Yeah.
I had a King Safari kid, and I followed the instructions of fungal protectant. It said to break it up and spread it out the wood chips. I did that, and it seems to be there's some growth, but I haven't really gotten a whole lot out of it.
King Shofari is probably white whale. I've been trying to grow it for 4 years and still have not gotten a fruit.
Like the mycelium, it
It
started to
can die
grow,
off,
but it
yeah,
was
if you don't pasteurize your wood chips, which a lot of times when people are talking about doing outdoor stuff, you don't do pasteurization. You just soak it and go.
yeah.
Well,
Are they more
it's still, yeah, it's more vulnerable.
species?
Yeah,
Depends on how aggressive they are. Like oysters, you really don't have to worry about it too much because they're so aggressive that they can outgrow and outcompete all the other bacteria.
and King Shofari is most of the time too. But you could just get a bag that was weak culture or something like that.